It's a new year with me on my same BS. I said during my last video of 2025 that I was going to try to get a new list video out every week during 2026. And I've already failed due to my self-destructive tendencies and trying to do too many things at once. But it's a new year, and lots of people make resolutions for ways to improve their own lives. Bet you can't guess what month this video was supposed to be posted in. Well, one such resolution I'm sure that people tend to make is being more open with meeting new people. And video games do an excellent job at showing ways to not only meet new people, but to develop lifelong bonds with someone you've only spent a few hours with. Here are 5 times that video games showed me how to make friends that I will be using in the new year. Be aware that there will be spoilers for the following: Saints Row the Third, Rockstar's Bully, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Fallout 4, and The Outer Worlds 1/KOTOR. One of the most common ways that video games introduce a potential companion is by giving you someone that needs to be rescued. I mean, Fallout 4 alone, nearly half of your companions need to be rescued at some point before they'll join you. But we're saving Fallout for later on in the list. So out there somewhere in the world is a person waiting for you to risk your life in a non-existent scenario. Take the Saints Row the Third mission, return to Steelport. After an attack on the Hughes Memorial Bridge, your friend Oleg, who had also recently rescued, tells you that there are people who need to be rescued because they hate the same people that you do. Damn, mutual hate is a great way to make friends. Mutual hatred. That's not in this one. Our first person of interest is an ex-FBI agent named Kinsey Kensington. She is being held captive on a barge by a bunch of failed DJs. The Decker's leader, a disco vampire named Matt Miller, is upset that Kinsey is smarter than he is and had her captured and brought to his boat. I don't know why he just didn't kill her. Probably would have made things a lot easier in the future for him. I guess it was just to show how really unsmart he is. Getting Kinsey is rather easy. You just go loud, which she's probably into.
Mine's teacup.
Just pull up to the barge, kill some Deckers, untie her, and she tells you about our next friend. His name is Zemos, a pimp named Zemos. To rescue Zemos, we need to head over to a BDSM club where he is somewhere inside. Similar to Kinsey, getting to Zemos is rather easy. You just need to push in hard, enter a few unfamiliar doors, catching people by surprise, and giving a strange man a good shake down. Good shakedown. With the new information, you can now talk to the manager and descend into the basement where you'll find Zemos, who is hooked up to a pony cart. You know, tail included for authenticity. I mean, you can often tell which video game influenced the idea for the channel. It was this one. Anyway, our final homie is Angel. He's the big bad's former wrestling partner, and that's not a euphemism, I think. Hard to tell. Another simple task of killing luchadors until some big boys show up. But with that done, we're 3 friends richer. Another common friend-making trope in video games is earning their respect. First game that I think of is Rockstar's Bully. Probably because I finally got around to playing it in 2024. The game focuses around Jimmy Hopkins being tired of all the high school hierarchy clique bullshit. So, unlike Holden Caulfield, Jimmy decided to do something about it. His first friends are Petey Kowalski and Gary Smith, one of which is a total waste of time. Similar to Jimmy, they're technically factionless. Like every school, there are 6 distinct cliques.
Over there we got the nerds.
The greasers,
and those are the preps.
the nerds,
now over there
the
are
jocks,
the greasers,
the bullies,
jocks.
and the townies. Even though the townies aren't part of the school. And as it was foretold, one day a 15-year-old boy would unite the 6 kingdoms. Jimmy's first day at Bullworth Academy leads him to meet the leader of the bullies after having to put Bully Wade in his place. Luckily, Russell is prevented from attacking Jimmy. For now. But as the semester goes on, Russell makes additional appearances, including popping up in the dorm room hall on Halloween, waiting to stomp out Jimmy, Petey, and Gary. He's easily avoided by just walking out the door. Russell doesn't know how to use doors. At the end of the chapter, Jimmy and Russell are tricked into an underground fighting arena to fight in the hopes that Jimmy loses and is embarrassed in front of the whole school. After his victory, Jimmy extends a hand in friendship to Russell, making him his strongest ally. Literally. Even the adults are like afraid of him. As the game continues, Jimmy will conquer all of the other cliques and force them to submit into making the school a much less chaotic place. That is, until he is framed and expelled for burning down the school gym. Yet Russell still stands by his side, going as far as dying in a fiery explosion after stealing a police motorcycle to help Jimmy clear his name. I'm just kidding with you. He's fine. If you can't find people who need to be rescued, and you can't beat someone up to gain their respect, you can always use a tried and true method. That's right, just give them things, and they will have no choice but to be your friend. Take, for instance, Animal Crossing New Horizons. To summarize the plot, billionaire Tom Nook is on vacation with his secretary, and he makes you, a complete stranger, mayor of an island for what I can only assume are tax evasion purposes. He needs the island populated, but he already has 2 kids, and that's more than enough for him. So it falls on you, and you didn't put any points into charisma. Because it's not that kind of game. Instead, you need to convince villagers to abandon their homes and families. Do the villagers have families, other than the few of them that are just related to other villagers? I mean, I know the Able sisters have parents. Well, you need to convince them to live on your island paradise. This is where I need to intervene to say that I remember when I first played the game, when like a villager went to your campsite, you had to build them something. You had to like make them a gift to convince them to stay on your island. But in order to gather the footage for this, when I went, like I was lucky enough that the day of this recording, the day of the footage recording, a villager was at my campsite, and I said, all right, cool. But all I had to do was play a card game and beat them, and then they said yes? That kind of messes up the whole point of this section of giving them gifts. Like, I distinctly remember that they wanted me to make them an item and give it to them? So then I did a little bit of research, and it turns out that if you use an amiibo character, you have to give them a gift and they'll stay on your island. I didn't have amiibos when the game first came out. I mean, the point is, give people gifts. That's the answer. If the first 3 methods have failed, you can always just cut out the middleman. That's right. Just pay for friendship. Lots of video games have mercenaries that you can hire to follow you around. What is life if not the best pay-to-win game? Fallout 4, you can stumble across a bar in the town of Good Neighbor. Inside a back room, you'll find a man named McCready trying to enjoy his drink while being harassed by two gunner mercenaries named Wenlock and Barnes. After they walk away, you can hire McCready for 250 caps to follow you around and judge everything that you do throughout the wasteland. Now that is friendship. The more you travel with your rent-a-friend, he'll eventually ask you for a favor. Remember those two dudes from the bar? Well, they gotta die. And you know what? What else are friends for? So it's off to a highway overpass to kill a group of wannabe military rejects to prove our friendship to this person who we've only just met. With them dead, McCready will return the money that you paid to hire him, but he'll stay on to follow you as a friend. That's some kind of mild Stockholm, I would think. Honestly? Alright, so you're too poor to buy friends, too shy to engage in social interactions, or just generally unable to perform any heroic feats to rescue anyone to make friends. Oh, but that's it. That's the solution. You can make a friend. Or really just repair a friend. I'm going to count it as making a friend. If you've ever played an Obsidian RPG, chances are you have been given the task to repair a robot who can then become a companion. They really do love the idea of robot companions. No, that's for another video. There's nothing like stealing a spaceship, and while you're exploring the rooms, you stumble across a destroyed robot in your closet, whether that's the Ebon Hawk from the KOTOR series or the Unreliable from The Outer Worlds 1. In the latter, in one of the dorms of your ship, you can find a decommissioned s.a.m. cleaning unit. Upon interacting with it, you start the quest, The Cleaning Machine. You can then check the terminal in your quarters to see that the previous captain was supposed to pick up a part from a remote facility on a forsaken planet. Third s.a.m. result. That one updates my thing. It's off to Roseway in search of an acid scrubber to make us a war machine. This is rather straightforward. Enter the storage facility, kill a bunch of drugged up marauders, get the unique part to fix your bro. Install the acid steeper. s.a.m. isn't nearly as cool as HK-47, but his ability to work pre-programmed slogans into responses is in itself perfection. Birdie, I want to help you, but my partner here isn't so patient, and oh boy, when s.a.m. flies off the handle.
Let s.a.m. help you get a handle on murdering germs. Whether through incineration, vaporization, pulverization, or electrostrangulation, s.a.m. kills it all.
Not to mention, you wouldn't get this with HK-47.
I am a dirty, autonomous digital astrogator, s.a.m. I haven't cleaned my internals in ages. Can you hardly process the sheer quantity of dust built up in there? Tell me you've seen worse. We'll continue this later.
And those were 5 of the ways that video games showed me how to make friends. Are there any other ways that you can think of? I mean, aside from Metal Gear Solid 5 and Stockholm Syndrome devices. And I figured I'd also add a little story time here at the end. So I moved around a lot growing up, and eventually, as like a little kid, I reached a point where I just gave up on the concept of making friends. And don't like give me your, oh, that's so sad comments in the comment section. I'm an adult now. I have friends. But yes, growing up, I reached a point where there was just no point because I was just going to move again. So why bother making friends? So when I started playing more and more video games, the idea just kind of hit of the way that you get companions, the way that you get friends, homies. They're always called something different. Homies, companions, followers, whatever you want to call them. The way that you get them was just so funny that I couldn't not make this video idea. And then just as another little funny anecdote, I remember while I was going through college, community college, before university. Trying to think if I was already going to university and working at the college at the time, or if I was a community college student. I think I was a student at the time. But there was this guy who came from like a wealthier family. So, you know, he loved to show off his money. And I remember exactly 2 instances where, like, one of them he purchased Starbucks for like everyone in the room just as a way to like show off his wealth to the girls that were in the room. And then the other time he bought like everyone a pizza, like a probably a medium. I don't know. It might have been a medium, might have been a large. I don't know what he did. But I just remember him being like, "Man, what do you want?" And I was like, yeah, you don't got to get me a pizza. I'm working right now." And then he just bought bought everyone in the room a freaking pizza. Like he had it delivered and everything just to flex his money. So, the buying friends, just to point out, I mean, bought friends exist, but they're also only temporary. As soon as that money wears out, those people are gonna dip. Like, we weren't friends. He probably thought of me as a friend, but we weren't friends. He was just some guy that came into my place of work and flexed his money. Yeah.